Karate, George Mattson.
My goodness. Is my sound on? Can everyone hear me?
Yes, Sensei!
I knew that guy was going to come back. Remember last year when he screamed out? And thank you for coming today and participating once again to Uechi-Con. And I thank you very much for attending the 9 o'clock session with Sensei Durkin and myself. And of course, you got James Thompson after the next session. So you're going to have a busy day. And I was spending a lot of time trying to figure out what the hell am I going to talk about and what am I going to teach, where I only have like 30 minutes, and I know they give me more, but that would be even more complex. But after so many years of doing Uechi-Ryu, I've come to accept the fact that it is an art, but it's also an athletic endeavor. Last year I talked about the old way, which was an effort on my part to reclaim some of the things that I learned back in 1956 or 57, 58, and coming back as a 20-year-old trying to figure out how I was going to teach this. And for the most part, people loved the idea of the youngsters. Remember, most of my classes were college students or youngsters 20 years to 40 years old, and their idea of the martial arts came from what I was showing them. And I was showing, the strength, so I did demonstrations like they did on Okinawa, breaking things, and everyone got the idea that that was Uechi. And of course, to break a board or whatever, you had to be really strong. And a lot of what I taught at that time are things that as I grew older, I realized that you can't be tense all the time when you're doing the karate. So I started to work on what hard soft meant. And the softness of Uechi is the movement, getting that fist from wherever it is to the target. The hardness is striking that target. And that only lasts that long. All right, so you're able to, as you're learning and as you're practicing, you're able to extend the amount of time that you're in a ring or that you are in a conflict. And when you're under stress, and I can tell you right now, I'm not under stress because meeting with all of you, that your breathing tends to get locked up naturally. So all the time that you spend training with Uechi should be an effort to loosen that up. I grabbed this word loosen because Judy Durkin and her podcast, and you know how Judy is with all the hard pounding and all that, and that sort of goes against what I'm teaching now. So she said, well, at the end of the podcast, by the way, I'm now doing my Uechi more looser. My muscles are looser, she said, and I can go faster. And the more important part is she can go longer. So I developed that old way, and last year I talked a lot about that. This year, I was going to relate 26 different key components, important components of Uechi-Ryu that I feel makes it very unique. And I'm not sure if the founders of the movements, the people who developed the Sanchin, Seisan, Sansei-Ryu, if they created the movement so that they meant so much. For instance, the arm angle. Why is that arm angle there? Who said, why wasn't it up here? And of course, you see some styles, their movements are very high or very low. But in Uechi, it's right here. But over the years, I realized this is the strongest position of my arms. So maybe that's what they had in mind. And I started writing all these notes down as to why do we do things a certain way. And things like the arm angle. And then I realized when I do the Wauki, my arm angle is always at that position, the opening movement of Uechi. That's the opening position. So the arm angle of the Wauki is that same angle. So at any point along the Uechi, I can take my arm back and I'm right back to Sanchin. That has to be a very important key component of Sanchin. All right? So I have these 26 key components, which I was going to sit you all down, and I have the most fun talking with people after the class, and we go out for a beer. All right? We sit around talking, and people like the gentleman, the big monster, where is he, that was just up here? Is he hiding from me? Maybe. Oh. There he is. He comes up to me. I thought he was going to challenge me or something. And he starts questioning me. Starts saying, well, how did you do that? And where did that come from? And from those types of conversations, all these key components start coming. Why do you hold your hand in a certain way? Why your wrist, the arm goes out, where is it targeted? All these things, questions came up, and as I taught, I began to realize the importance of Sanchin in all this, and that's where that term, all is in Sanchin. Everything comes back to that key aspect of Uechi-Ryu, the Sanchin. And as it feeds Sei-san, the same thing is true as you're moving into any kind of a movement. Even here, if you take the angle of the arm, right back to Sanchin. All right, but if that key component isn't working for you, then your Sanchin arm movements can be anywhere, especially when you're under stress. So I don't want to get into all of that because there's a lot of difference of opinion between teachers, and my feeling is that all I can say is this is what I get out of Uechi-Ryu. And if you want to try it, great. But today, I didn't feel it was a good idea to start off with 26 key components, which would take 15 minutes to talk about. Maybe you'd enjoy it, and maybe at the towards the end of my session, we can all sit up here, and you can all pretend you're drinking a beer with me, and we can talk about those key components. But meanwhile, I want you to share with me my workout that I do 7 days a week at 7 a.m. And I do it on Zoom because I hate working alone. And that's one of the reasons that sometimes I wake up on my own. I know I have to do this, and I find some excuse. But if there is two people from Australia, one from France, two from England, and a ton of people from the United States that join me, I can't get out of it. So I've got to get up there every morning. But I've been doing that for a couple of years now, and before that, sporadically. But if you can make a goal, sure, you know, it doesn't have to be a huge goal, long distance goal, but do something every day. And I guarantee that you're going to feel better. It's amazing. I don't know about you. When I get up in the morning, better days, I always feel, oh God, I thought I felt better yesterday. But after that workout, I feel great. And for some reason or other, I feel strong. I feel healthy. I feel young. I just had my 86th birthday, and people ask me, Joe, what birthday is it? I always say 68. And I don't even feel that old. And I attribute it all to the habit of getting up and spending 15, 20 minutes doing some exercises. And I'm only going to, again, because I don't have a lot of time, what I want to do is show you some of these exercises, and I want you to do them with me. All right? And this is George Mattson's early wake-up exercise drill. And the first set is from the Konling. It's a Chinese feeding crane set of exercises. And I didn't wear the gi top so that you can see the shoulder movements. I call it oiling the joints. If you can keep these joints flexible and fluid, you'll never have to walk, you'll never have to have a hip replacement or a knee replacement. As long as you also train correctly. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But right now, I want you just to relax. And again, you're going to do this the old way. In other words, the breathing is going to be natural, because as you perform the movement, you're going to be a little bit exhale. When you exhale, inhale is easy. It's the exhale when you're under stress that you have a hard time exhaling. So in tournaments, you see a lot of ki-ai. The ki-ai is for the individual who locks up when they're doing kata. There have to be certain points where, hey! What is that? That's an exhale. So they can then inhale. And sometimes the kata only takes 20 seconds, so you can hold your breath the rest of the time. But that's not how you want to react in a fight or in a stressful situation. So doing this Kunling exercise will help teach you how to release the air. That's not a breath, it's a release. But if you can release the air, it comes back, the oxygen comes back on its own. And if you're in a stressful situation, and we'll talk about that later too, you're always moving. You should always be moving, even when you're standing still. So you're always getting that exhale. All right? You'd be surprised the first time you're under stress. And a lot of us never get into a fight. So you never get tested. All the things we do as an art. But the only way you'll know if it works is if you're tested. Some of you remember the days that I had a bar and it was a pub, nightclub, and a fine dining restaurant in Brockton, Massachusetts.
Celebrity House.
Celebrity House. That was the toughest town in Massachusetts. My brother, who was a natural fighter, every night he was on the door. There would be blood on the sidewalks where he'd take someone out. Every night I was on, I would learn how to deal with people and aggression and people who weren't dressed properly, so they weren't supposed to go in. And one night I had to use it. All right, and it happened a couple of times in the 4 years that we owned that place. And the first time I hit the guy, I stopped after that. Why? I don't know. But I realized something. He turned out to be an ex-boxer. And when I hit him in the nose, there was no nose there. It was just mushed. But he shook his head and he got back up again. My mind was, that one punch should have knocked him out. And all of a sudden, I was under such stress. You can't believe I was just like I was before I was doing karate. I recovered, fortunately, but I felt that this was kind of a test that most of us never go through. So you never know what's going to happen. But when it happens, it's not what you're expecting. It's always different, and it's always more bad. All right? So it's important as you're learning how to do these drills, these are things that should come out naturally. It may not be as nice, but you're going to make it work and you're going to survive. So here's the drill, the first drill. It's up and down. You're going to rotate your shoulders up and down like that. And as you go down, up, okay, normally I do 10, but we're going to slow it down a little bit here. No, hands out here, and you're going to be pushing. Again, shoulders, and you let your body relax. Then rotate your shoulders the other way. Now we're going to flick water. And again, the shoulders rotate. And the body is involved in the motion. Excellent. Now, elbow strike. Now with both arms. And the shoulders are rotating opposite directions. One more. Excellent. Now, a wauki, it wasn't called a wauki, but I named it wauki because it's a little bit of a wauki. One level, then 2 levels, 3 parallel, 4 up, and 5 all the way up. And now backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Normally I do 10, okay? Now the next one, I call it fast draw. So again, watch the shoulders. And push that heel down, as you know. All right, the last one of the set is my favorite. It's called the wiggle. All right, you're gonna rotate your hips and feel your breakfast churning in your belly. There you go. Faster. Faster. Excellent. All right, that was the conling part of it. Now we're going to do a few what I call windmill, and use your body to rotate the arms. So you're not using any muscles at all to do the action. Excellent. All right, now we're going to do a few squats. Normally we do 10. So just relax and down. As far as you can, up, stretch, stretch, and 2. Stretch, stretch, 3. Stretch, stretch. Okay, a couple of deep breaths. And we have water, and I want everyone to take a little bit of water at this point. If you don't have water, you're going to have to hang out and just wait. All right, then 3 different levels. And this again is, we talked about it last year. At the end of the last strike, we do double strikes and 3, and then we move. As we move, we're using our arms to defend ourselves. Here, and then we do the wauki. All right? Here, wauki. Here, wauki. All right, now this arm is a check block arm. This doesn't go beyond the center line. And it looks like it's moving more because our shoulders are moving a little. All right? I don't want to see your shoulders standing still. Right? Because then your body is not involved in the action. So Sanchin is teaching you how to involve your body. You notice as I'm moving the Sanchin arm angle, and as I move, nothing is moving in the shoulder at this point. All right, you get to this point, and then the arm continues and around like that. All right, let's try it. 4 steps, 4 steps, 3 steps. Ready? Right. All right, with me. Step off with your right foot. On your feet. Turn. And turn. And double. Hey. 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 And close gate. Hold the position. Hey. Great. All right, the second level, and I want you to try and figure out why I am doing it in 3 different ways. I haven't changed the kata at all, but what I'm doing is I am teaching myself the different ways that I can use the wauki. All right, here's the 3 double thrusts. You notice the acceleration. There always must be acceleration in all your movements, according to what I feel. All right, the moment you start doing them one speed, you take your body out of the equation. All of a sudden, the movements are just from your shoulder. But when you accelerate, there's always that feedback from the ground and the energy coming up from the ground. Even going slowly. And the second level is And the movements are timed, the timing, so that as you move, your hands, upper body starts the same time as your lower body. Chambered position, the legs stop, your arms stop. Okay? That's level 2. The rest of the kata is the same, except step off with your left foot. Ready? Right? Right? Hajime. And turn. And turn. Hey. 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 Hold the position. Hey. Great. Excellent, excellent. Third level. Any ideas how I'm going to do it? What? All right. It's three different ways that you can sort of incorporate the wauki with movement, with angles, and no matter what kind of an attack is coming at you, you're going to be able to deal with it. I mean, if you're just moving and someone's just talking to you, there's no reason to do a wauki at all. All right? Do you want to talk? Talk. All right? But he's throwing a punch. You can block as you move. And if he's really tough, you can bang! You can finish the job. And all of that's taught in Sanchin. But it's just how you are practicing it, how you interpret the movements. All right? And I'll watch this time. Ready? 3 level, the 3rd level. Step off with your right foot. Hey. And hajime, right foot. Hey. And turn. And turn. 1, 2, and double. Hey, hey, hey. All right. Hey, and feet together. Great. Now you notice on the 3rd level, most people will end up in the 2nd level because you're trying to move the same way in the 3rd level as you were in the 2nd level. It won't work. You have to learn to let your body adjust. So in the 3rd level, you're not going to start way down here. The 3rd level, you might start right from here. Punch is coming at you. So as you're moving, this will work just as well. All right, so you have to sort of modify the wauki a little bit. And hey, everyone does the wauki different anyway. So if you can have a formula for doing it, it would make a lot more sense. Okay? That's the Sanchin portion of the drill. All right, now the next section is 25 angle push-ups. And we don't have a wall or we don't have a desk, but something about waist height. And you get on there and you would do 25 easy push-ups. But 25 exercises your body and it doesn't hurt you. If you go on the floor and try to do 25, you know, it's like lifting a weight. It's like you used to do Sanchin that way. You know, muscle against muscle, muscle fighting muscle. So you're learning with an angle push-up how to exercise your muscles without tiring your body, which is another really important aspect to getting into a struggle and having to use self-defense and being able to survive to extend the period of time that you're in that encounter. Very, very important. So I'll let you practice that on your own. Have you all remembered all the sequences so far? All right, now the last part of it is an important element of virtual training because we don't have partners if we're at home with a small house dojo watching me at the, on the other end. So what I've created is called first just sparring session where you're spending 3 1-minute rounds. The first round and the second round, there's no visualization of an opponent. All right, that's the key. The third round, you're going out and you're using the hard soft of waging. So the movement is fast, but you hit an opponent you visualize out here. Now I thought that was kind of weird and nobody ever thought of it. Man, you get on Google and you search some of these things and everything's been done. You know, the idea of shadow boxing, that was invented by a boxer many, many years ago. And it's turned out to be a very important element of boxing. Just going out there and punching, moving around, moving your body. Another element of never stopping. No hesitation in your kata. All right, I see people, you stand there like that. All right, it's not, as soon as you do that, you stop, now you got to start again. You got to start the engine and now you're going to do something else. Whereas if you're moving, your body is always involved. All right, and the important thing is to keep breathing, the same way that we were talking about with the Kong-Ling exercise. Every time you throw a punch, every time you move, you're exhaling, which means that'll help the stress situation. If you're under stress and you stop breathing, you lock up, by moving, your body is taking care of that. As long as you're not tense, you're going to do that, especially when you're under stress. So now, I don't have my watch on, but I know pretty much what a 1-minute time limit is. So I don't want you to hit one another now. Remember, there's no opponent. There's no kimi. There's no, You notice how long that took me? The whole body, goes into that movement. That's the third round. But the first 2 rounds are just moving, hitting, kicking, knee strike. Take movements out of your kata. I have one of my students, he does groundwork, so he's out there and the next thing I know, he's on the ground beating the hell out of his opponent. All right, you have to feel that in that third round. But the first 2 rounds, just move and keep hitting. Keep hitting. So if you get into a bad situation like I did in Brockton back in 1973, wasn't that about not 73, Bobby? All right, and I hit this guy as hard as I could. And he bled, and his nose, he didn't have a nose. It was just nothing there. And he shakes his head like that, and he said, "Oh, you want to fight for real, huh?" And he was in trouble. Oh, man. All of a sudden, I said, that didn't work. Someone told me 1 punch, that's all you needed in karate. Those things aren't verbalized. You're thinking them, though. It didn't work. So I want to see everyone continue to move, and we'll see if you're using the old way or not, because you won't last a minute if you don't use the old way. And as Judy says, you got to be loose. Thank you, Judy, for coming up with that. I love that phrase. Loose. I want you to be loose as you're going through it. Ready? Okay. Keep moving. And I don't care if you want to drop to the floor and do some grappling. Go. Go. Don't stop. Let your body move the action. Whoop,
It's okay.
Tell me when a minute's up.
A minute?
Minute, yeah. Come on. Don't stay in one position, you have to move. That's why you do the 8 form, so you have 8 different directions that you move. And the distance that you need to move to get into your opponent. It's all in the 8 form. Okay, stop. Now, we're not taking a break. I'm just saying round 2. Who's tired? All right, ready, round 2, go. 1 minute. Come on there. Oh, you're moving just your arms. You got to move with your body. Don't stop. Throw some kicks, knee strikes. Move. There you go. There's no opponent there, so no need to focus. Just move your arms and legs. Now, if you're moving correctly, you're not hyperextending the arm. There's always going to be a little arm angle at the end. Are you keeping track of the time?
Good.
Oh, okay. Second round. Okay, now the important part of this drill. You're visualizing your opponent. You're seeing him throwing that punch. You're blocking it and hitting at the same time. You never stop. All right? You really drive in and hit, but you're not tight during the soft part of Uechi. It's boom! And this lasts that long. Ready? Third round, go! Opponent. And it's so real that I can see it. I can see your opponent based on your actions. No stopping, accelerated movements. Every movement's accelerated. We'll let it go, though. Okay. Take a deep breath. That was pretty darn good. Now, I have to do this every morning. You think I hate that? I love it. It feels so good. When you exercise properly and you do it in a way that you're looking forward to it, you will do it every day. And that's a goal you can meet. And it's important in life, you have a lot of worthwhile goals. All right, and I hope that's going to be one that you're going to remember. And when you're 86, and I'll be there watching you. I want to still see you doing it. All right, that's my time. I don't know, Buzzy, do you mind if I take a few more minutes? Everybody come up here, and we're going to go into what is that? The Swamp House is in Lake Mary, and it's right on a lake. Everyone sit down. I want you to pretend we're at the lake or the Swamp Dojo, and we're having a beer. You got a beer in front of you, and I'm just going to relate a couple of these key components. And I'm not going to tell you what they are, but I think based on our workout today, you probably will be able to decide, or you'll be able to figure out how I came up with them. All right? Key components. And these are fundamental principles of Uechi. By the way, I have to read it because I can't remember all that stuff. I hope you don't mind. That George Mattson is teaching Uechi-Ryu Karate at the Mattson Academy Virtual Dojo. We have 5 categories. The first one is Uechi-Ryu is a lifetime or lifelong practice. And there's different components of it. First, do no harm. Second, teach proper postural actions so that students do not hurt their joints when thrusting, striking, or kicking. And when they get to be 50, they have to have hips replaced, knee replaced, shoulders replaced. And they shouldn't be bragging about all that, how they were able to recover in record time. You shouldn't have those problems. So if you train properly, you won't have those problems. All right. 3, testing. This is for the teachers. test a student Sanchin kata using different degrees of touch. All right, I can touch you like that and knock you out. On the other hand, I can touch and I can tell what your natural strength is. One of the things we do in the shadow sparring is as you're going along, punching, you're tapping yourself in the belly. Your body naturally reacts to that and it'll give you strength, but only the amount of strength that's natural for you based on what you do outside of the karate dojo, like the things we did with the early morning workout, the push-ups, the sit-ups, lifting weights, all that builds your body. You don't build your body doing karate. You can if you do it the hard way, and Goju teaches that, then it becomes exercise, muscle fighting muscle. But it's not going to develop the natural strength that you need for the kind of training that you need for actual self-defense purposes. So as you're doing the running, you can see, and when I'm testing a student's Sanchin, I want to see that. I don't want to see the student tighten up and give me an artificial type of tension. So different degrees of touch. And I promise not to tell you all these things, but I couldn't help. I had to do that. Anyhow, number 4, you do not build muscle through absorption of body blows. Muscle development is achieved through proper posture, breathing, body flow, and kimi while performing Sanchin and other kata. Number 5, supplement your Uechi practice to develop muscle endurance and speed and exercise such as resistance training, core strengthening, flexibility, and cardiovascular exercise. And the 6th point, one of my favorite, train often, train smart. And then the second category, Uechi-Ryu systems, my favorite of all, number 7, all is in Sanchin. Number 8, Sanchin kata establishes the foundation for all movements of Uechi-Ryu and teaches body flow, kimi, breathing, rooting, and state of mind. I teach you 26 of them, so I can't possibly spend all that time here. If anyone would like a copy of this, email me, and this is what I do with coaching in my virtual dojo. And I have about a third of I think our latest count, we have 87 students. It's a full-time job for me now. But anyhow, a third of them are people who belong to dojos. And they just like to talk with me and shoot the blue and go over some of the reasons why they're doing Uechi and things that they can pick my brain. So that's what I'm trying to do here. And at some point, I understand we have a question and answer period tomorrow or whenever chance. It's more of a social kind of a thing. If you have any questions, that's the time to ask them. All right. I do appreciate the time you spent with me. I hope you got something out of it other than just doing the typical workout that you get in the dojo all the time. All right. I always try to make my seminars a little different. And I do appreciate your coming and putting up with me. All right, thank you.